Hi everyone, I am Aziz and I welcome you to another video in this series where we discuss output-based JavaScript interview questions. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start with the first question. So over here you will see that we have a function getAge, and in this function we are logging some message, and the message would be the value of type of operator. And here we are calling the function with variable arguments. So what do you think? What would be the output of this function call? So let me run this code snippet first and see the output. Alright, so you can see that the output is the object. So why we are getting object as the output? The reason is pretty simple. So when we call this function with the variable argument, the rest operator or the rest parameter collects all the arguments into an array. So over here the arguments is nothing but an array, and when you use type of operator against the array, it will give us the object, because arrays are objects in JavaScript, right? Great. So over here I have listed 7 default types in JavaScript. Number 1 is the null, number 2 is undefined, boolean, number, so on and so forth. So when you use the type of operator on any value, it will give us one of these values. Amazing. So let's move to next question. Over here again we have a function getAge, and this time we are running this function in strict mode. Okay. So what happens when we call this function? So let's run the program and see the output. So you can see that we are getting reference error. Age is not defined. Why is it so? Why we are getting this error? So let's investigate the reason. So when we use the use strict inside the function, it's gonna run this function in the strict mode. And when we run the function in the strict mode, it will not allow us to declare any variable in the global scope. Okay. Had we run this function in the non-strict mode, it would have created a variable in the global scope and then assigned 21 value to it. Let me show you how. So when I comment this line, now this function will be run in a non-strict mode, and in this case you will see the proper output, which is equal to 21. Why is it so? Because when we run function in a non-strict mode, it's gonna declare a variable age on a global scope and assign 21 value to it. But this is not the case right here. Okay, here we are using use strict directive, which means we are not allowed to declare any variable on the global scope, and if we do not have any variable in the global scope, then to which variable we are assigning this value? There is no variable at all, which is why we are getting reference error that age variable is not defined. Great, I hope this is clear to you. With this, let's move to next question. So over here we are calling the eval function, which is the default function in JavaScript, and we are giving one expression in the form of string. So what would be the output of this code snippet? So let me run the code snippet first and show you the output. As this code snippet is very straightforward, we got the output as 105. Why is it so? Because the purpose of eval function is to evaluate the given expression, and in this expression we have a mathematical calculation where we are multiplying 10 by 10 and then we are adding 5 to it. So when this eval function evaluates this expression, it will become 10 times 10 plus 5, which is equal to 105, which is why we are getting 105 in the console. Amazing. Now let's move on to the next question. So over here we have defined or initialized two variables with the same name, num. In the first initialization we assign 8 to number, in the second initialization we assign 10 to number. Now could you please predict the output of this code? It's pretty simple. We will get 10 in the console. Why is it so? Because with the where keyword we can declare multiple variables with the same name, but this is not the case with let and const. So over here first it's gonna declare the num variable with the value 8, and then it's gonna declare num variable again with the value 10. So the 8 value will be overridden by the value 10, which is why we got 10 over here. Great. Now let's move to last question of this video. Over here you can see that we have an object and we have a set, and here we are using the default methods of the objects, which is has on property and has. Okay, So let's go all the console log one by one. So over here we are using has on property. Now the purpose of has on property is to check whether this property exists in the given object or not. So here we have passed 1 as a string, but you can see that here we do not have a string. We have numbers. So what do you think? What would be the output of this console log? So let me run this program to show you the output, and then we will discuss the reasoning of it. Okay. So you can see that even we have passed the string 1 to this method, still we are getting true. Why is it so? Because internally all the keys in objects are string. So the internal implementation always use string. Even if you write the numeric value here, it's gonna convert it into string internally. So it checks if 1 is present in the object or not. And over here, as the internal representation uses the string, 1 is present in the object, which is why we get true over here. Amazing. Now let's see the next console output. Over here we are giving the numeric value of 1 to this method. Now this time internally it's gonna convert it into string, and then it's gonna match that whether the 1 key is present in this object or not. And we know that 1 is already present, so which is why we got true over here. Great. Now let's talk about the sets. So the thing we have seen here is not the same with the set. So if set has string 1, then it's gonna give us true. If set does not have the string 1, it's gonna give us a false. So over here you can see that we are checking if this set has 1 in the form of string, but over here we have all the numeric values, which is why we are getting false. Great. Now here we are not passing 1 as a string, instead we are passing 1 as a numeric value, and you can see that we have all the numeric values in the set, which is why we are getting true over here. Amazing. So I hope all the 5 questions and reasoning of all the 5 questions are clear to you. So this is pretty much all about this video. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.